Welcome back to Money Wire Work, where we talk about everything money. And today is pretty interesting. We have a very timely strike with American Airlines flight attendants who are demanding higher pay. Now, American Airlines flight attendants voted overwhelmingly to authorize this strike, and it comes just before the busy holiday weekend. Now, what's interesting about this strike, it is actually one of a series of strikes that has happened across the country, one being pretty famous the writer's strike in Hollywood that has pushed many scripts back and pushed some pretty notable names back, such as Stranger Things, going into 2026. Now, this isn't too unexpected given the fact that inflation has been pretty high, and I think what a lot of people don't understand about inflation is that it doesn't really ever truly go back to the normal prices unless you actually have deflation. So, for example, inflation reached upwards of over 9% post-COVID, and we are down to about that 3 to 4% level, but it doesn't mean we're going back to regular prices. What that means is we're only going about 3 or 4% over the 9% of the previous year. Now, American Airlines, of course, is defending themselves and saying that the annual salary for flight attendants varies pretty greatly, with new flight attendants making about $35,000 a year to the more experienced flight attendants making about $100,000 a year. And if you factor in the hourly rate, at least as of 2015, you can see that the start is $23.28, and after 12 years can max out at $53.52. Now, that looks like a pretty amazingly hourly rate, but it's important to know that flight attendants have irregular hours, and often they don't get paid until the flight starts to take off. And when they land and they go to their hotel or what have you, they're not getting paid for that time. Now, American Airlines also likes to point out that their flight attendants has a pay scale that has steadily increased over time, and that is despite the cost of increased travel expenses for them, such as oil and gas. So this sort of issue really does make you wonder what other strikes are going to be coming down the line. We also have to wonder, with all these strikes, are wages actually rising enough to meet the increased costs? You can see here some data collected by Pew Research Center from 1964 all the way to 2018. They say that Americans' paychecks are bigger than 40 years ago, but their purchasing power has hardly budged. And if you're a regular viewer on this channel, you know that we talked very recently about the money supply and how that affects the market. But this is a perfect example of how it actually affects the overall economy, not just the stock market. Essentially, we have more money being pumped into our system, but unless our wages are increasing at the same rate, you're losing purchasing power. So the purchasing power of that 1964 salary, when corrected for inflation, was a lot stronger. There was more purchasing power back then than what the common average American has in 2023. And we can see huge effects of this in our economy. A bank, for example, 10, 20 years ago required 20% down on a house. Today, you could put 3 to 5% down, and that's just not counting the government loans. That's actually counting private loans and mortgages through banks. It's an interesting question. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. Until then, we're going to keep covering everything on the stock market. If you like this channel and you want to see more, hit the like button. It's the easiest way to help out the channel, but also hit the subscription bell and the notification bell so you can see all of my latest content. Until then, see you next time. Thank you.